many other great names on these modern era finalists. I'm looking at them like Sam Mills had so many great years with the New Orleans Saints. He should have gotten in. Reggie Wayne, so many phenomenal years with the Indianapolis Colts. He should have gotten in. Clay Matthews Jr., I believe this was it his 9th time being up to go into the Hall of Fame. I believe so, Richard.
Wow. But
Clay Matthews Jr. not getting in. Torrey Holt, of course. Tony Vaselli.
Wow, yeah, there's a lot of good ones.
There's a lot of great ones. Yes,
yeah, waiting for their turn. But Peyton Manning, obviously fantastic. You know, the only other quarterback other than Tom Brady to win the Super Bowl with 2 different teams. I mean, that's just so impressive. Of course, Brady now did it in the AFC and the NFC. If Brady wins again next year, he'll be the only guy to do it back-to-back with 2 different teams. I mean, it's just, you know, Bradshaw did it back-to-back with the Steelers, but without the same team. You know, so I think it's just amazing what he has the potential to do.
Definitely.
So, guys, listen, I'm sorry to leave you, but I got to go and watch the rest of the Suns game so I don't look like an idiot on this Zoom call.
They're up at the half, barely.
Yeah, so I got to watch the second half to make sure. Because, you know, they go – Rich, you guys know, they go fast in them Zoom calls. Your question better be ready when Palmer hits you.
Exactly.
You got to be ready to go. So –
yep, because he gets Monty in and out of there quick.
Yeah, and Monty will always give you a real concise answer, except when he says, every other thing I'm going to talk about is this. So who's next? Hey, Coach, we're real good.
Yeah, we're good.
No more questions tonight. But I appreciate it. It's always great to hop on with the 2 superstars and then the superstar of superstars tonight. The one and only Rich Saenz.
I miss you guys. I really miss seeing you guys out at sporting events. I can't wait till we can get together for a press conference at least or something. I really enjoy seeing all you guys out at these events all the time. The same way, I want to say real quick, I would love to see Pedro Gomez, one of our own,
man,
passed away. Just a punch to the gut, man. So just take care of yourselves, please.
Yes. You too, brother. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, BLR.
No worries. Rich, I'll be bugging you via text. You know that all the time. See, y'all don't know. Sometimes I don't text them just to say, come on. I like to bug the hell out of them just because I usually text them when I'm around people to prove that I know them. I'm like, watch, this is a real number. See, I really do know. Watch you text back.
I'll make sure to respond. I bet you.
All right, you guys. Blessings. Much
all right, my brother. Joanna, can we do a call an audible right here? Since Rich, you brought up Pedro. Can we talk about Pedro right now? Us losing our brother.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me just chime in real quick before Rich and Ed, before you say your thoughts. But yes, on Sunday, right after the Super Bowl, unfortunately, news broke about our good friend Pedro Gomez suddenly passing at just the age of 58. Hard to even believe. Came to shock for everyone who has shared a moment with Pedro, media, friends, family. He was just a great person. Great journalist. He was just elite in every sense of the word that you can think of. So I'm going to miss definitely seeing him. He was just a great mentor, great friend. There's not enough words that I can say or express of who Pedro was. But there's going to be so many memories, and he's just going to be dearly missed by everyone. Rich, I know you knew him a lot more than I did over the years. Can you share something memorable and
Yeah, just a class act. I mean, one of the best to ever do it, and never really acted like it. He just acted like a normal guy, and he was every time you saw him, he made you feel special. He would say something that was personal to you, And I'll never forget the first time, I got to this market, from a smaller market in El Paso, Texas. And I'm out at a press conference and I'm like, oh, there's Pedro Gomez from ESPN. And he's the one that approached me and said, hey, welcome, I've seen your work and stuff. And yeah, it's just, and that's the thing is, a lot of times you'll find out someone is sick and you can have some kind of closure. But when something happens like this so sudden, it's really a bummer that you don't even realize the last time you saw him, that was going to be the last time you saw him. And it's just heartbreaking, and, I wish him and, his family well. And, all I could do is pray for them, but it was something that I didn't even believe at first. And it's still hard to comprehend.
Yeah.
So Joe and I were texting after the game last night, Rich, and she's like, "Did you hear the news about Pedro?" And I'm like, so I called her. I'm like, "Please don't tell me what I think you're getting ready to tell me." And then she told me, and it was just like a ton of bricks just fell on me. Yeah, like you guys said. I remember the first time I met Pedro at a Diamondbacks game. We were covering a game, and he couldn't have been nicer. He couldn't have been a more genuine and down to earth and nice man, considering the position he was in, as far as where he was, as far as his stature in this media thing that we do. And he treated me like he's known me for decades, like we were friends since we were kids. And we covered Cardinals games together. He would come out to the Tempe facility. Rich, he would be out there along with you and I and everybody else. He would be there, and he just every time you see him, it's like we're picking up in mid conversation. Like, oh, we're talking about families. We're talking about our families, and then we just talk about sports. And then he was just a genuine, down to earth, loving, just a great man to be around, and he made everybody better with the relationship that you built with him. And if you did not go up to him, he would come to you. Right, Rich? You remember if you didn't speak to Rich, if you didn't speak to Pedro Gomez and he knew you, oh, he was after you. Dude, okay, dude. Oh, so you don't want to speak to me? You don't know me now? Oh, so we're doing this now? Right. Where
people would see him and be like, he's the network guy, I don't want to bother him. But he was one of us, and that's the thing. If somebody walked into the room and didn't know what our roles were, and they had to say, pick out who the network guy is in this room, you wouldn't be able to tell it was him because he wasn't acting like that. And I think that's really what endeared people to him. But he was, he started out in this market. He worked for the newspaper here. So he knew us. He knew how hard we were working, and I think that's what was really cool about him, is that he didn't forget where he came from, whether it was this market or from Cuba, which he had a lot of love for and did a lot of great reports for Major League Baseball and ESPN for.
And you can tell the effect and the love that millions of people have had on him just by the Twitter feed last night. Once the news came out after the Super Bowl, the floodgates opened as far as tweets came from all these major sports franchises and all these executives like Mr. Bidwell, Michael Bidwell tweeted something out on behalf of the Cardinals, and all of these baseball teams are tweeting out, and all of these other mega sports journalists are tweeting and talking about Richardson, about Pedro Gomez and just the relationships that they had with Pedro and the effect that they had on him during his time when he was alive and when he was around us, and he covered events just like we did when we were all together, and we're all going for the same thing. We're trying to cover a sports event, but it's bigger than the event. It's about the human interaction. It's about the relationship that you had with Pedro and the relationship he had with you.
Yes, definitely. And I remember the first time that I saw Pedro at the press box at Chase Field covering the Diamondbacks. This was, I don't know how many years ago, 8 years ago now. And I remember the first time, because I see me being a baseball fan and watching ESPN and watching all these reporters and everyone, I grew up for just seeing them, following them and analyzing, you can say it to an extent, and then seeing Pedro Gomez. It was like I was in pretty much starstruck in a way, you can say that. And it was like, could barely even say hi to him. But over the time and over the years, it was like, hi, how are you? Always had a smile on his face. You can always go up to him, ask him a question, the stories he would have, and he would tell you. He just loved the game. And being from Cuba, his family being from Cuba, Rich, like you mentioned earlier, he's also a trailblazer for for anyone, and especially for minorities, and how far he's come and what he was able to do in his career, how far he was able to come. And that, and he was just humble.
Yeah.
That's who he was. And he was just open and free and friendly, and like nothing really like that didn't faze him. He was just so approachable, so nice. So the clubhouse locker rooms are so gonna fill that void from the media, from everybody that knew him tremendously.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Very well said.
I wonder what teams are going to do to honor Pedro. The news came out that the Hawks are going to rename their media workroom after Sekou Smith passed away. So the Hawks are going to rename their media workroom after him. I just wonder what any of these teams are going to do to honor Pedro.
Yeah. I would think especially maybe the D-backs or Major League Baseball as a whole will name some kind of a journalistic award after him or something. But yeah, he'll definitely be honored, I think, in one way or another, and definitely remembered by people like us that were fortunate enough to come in contact and interaction with him.
Yes, definitely. So he does leave a great legacy. So he's a great example to follow.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's go ahead and continue celebrating some NFL and talk a little bit about awards for these amazing players who put it all out on the fields throughout the season. And we have Aaron Rodgers. He went and captured that MVP award.
Yeah, so then he turned the NFL honors into The Bachelor and said that he was engaged. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? I wasn't even, I thought that was pretty interesting. But no, Aaron Rodgers was fantastic this year. He was my pick for MVP. But, there were a couple other awards. Alex Smith, the comeback player of the year, when you think of what he went through to get back to the game, I think that just shows the love of the game that these guys have, because Alex Smith was a top pick. Alex Smith had been successful in the National Football League. He'd been paid. He didn't have to go through. He could have had that injury and said, you know what, man? Heck of a run. I got my money. I got my years in the NFL. I'm not going to work that hard to get back to where I was. But no, he did. And, his leg was shattered. And to think that, here's a guy that really loves this game that much is so beautiful for me to see, but also frustrating when I see other players that might have more talent than him that don't take the position and the opportunity they have as seriously as they should to get the best out of themselves and for their team. So I think he's a great example for younger players too, that, look, this is an opportunity of a lifetime. This is a privilege to play the National Football League. And if you get a chance to do it, you need to grab onto it with both hands and ride it as long as you can. I think that was pretty cool to see. And then there's other, TJ Watt. I think he got ripped off. Aaron Donald's fantastic. You really can't argue too much without him being one of the best. But when you look at the statistics, TJ Watt was number one in almost every single category. So, I think that's just going to add some motivation for him in that Pittsburgh defense. And I thought it was pretty cool to see JJ Watt, his brother, kind of stick up for him and do the stat comparison. And I think that's what's great about these awards and these honors that people can have their opinions about and have, healthy conversations and disagreements about who should have won what. And it was cool to see the Cardinals honored once again, with the play of the year, the Hail Murray, Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins. So that was kind of cool to see those guys get honored. That's back-to-back years that Kyler Murray's taking home some hardware. He got Rookie of the Year last year, Play of the Year this year. Who knows? Maybe he'll get the MVP next year.
Yeah, you never know. And that's just with Kyler Murray real quick. And that's just showing that potential that he has to be as a quarterback. This is just, he's just starting off. Yes, he has his struggles, but just coming off back-to-back years, getting an award from NFL, that, that's something that means a lot and it speaks volumes in itself.
Yeah, what do you think, Ed? I mean, do you think Do you think